Alright, welcome everyone. In today's video, I'm going to be discussing July, August, and September, and what these 3 months mean for your Social Security checks, as well as why they're so incredibly important, especially this year. That's the focus of the video. Let's get into it and talk about all the details right now. First off, just to clarify, when I say Social Security, I'm referring to all benefits administered by the Social Security Administration. This includes but is not limited to Social Security retirement, disability, SSDI, survivors, spousal SSI, and even VA benefits. I just want to throw that out there really quickly because sometimes down below in the comments section, I see questions like, what about me? I receive SSI. Or what about SSDI? Or what about retirement? The list goes on and on. So, to clarify, we're talking about all 70+ million beneficiaries who receive these ongoing monthly checks. Now, I want to talk about the importance of July, August, and September since they are upon us already. Can you believe it? I know, right? But I want to talk about the details of these 3 months and how these translate into your Social Security checks and why they are so incredibly important, especially this year, and what we've been seeing over the last several months. So let's jump into it and talk through the details a little bit further. However, really fast before we get into it, can I ask a huge favor? If you're new here or if you haven't done so yet, please make sure to subscribe to the channel by hitting the subscribe button right down below the video. It's totally free to do so. I'm here for you every single day. I'm watching the headlines, doing the research, advocating on your behalf, answering questions, and doing anything I possibly can right now to point out everything going on. It's a weird time out there. A lot of things are changing, and we've been hearing a lot about Social Security so far this year. Quite a few big announcements have come out of the administration as well. A lot of good stuff so far, and we've got a lot of the year yet to go, right? Anyway, I'm here for you. Again, thank you so much for joining me. Please, if you haven't done so, subscribe down below. It's totally free to do so. Also, feel free to share the video with the share button down below with your friends on your social media. Thank you so much, truly appreciate you, and thanks for watching. Let's talk about the details. So, these are the 3 most important months when it comes down to your monthly benefit. Now, we could probably say that a bunch of other months are very important as well, but when it comes down to your benefits actually increasing, this is what it comes down to. Leading up to these 3 months, July, August, and September, we've been talking about a bunch of different details as far as what's going on and the information that has been coming out that is going to directly impact your monthly benefit. If you've been watching the videos here on the channel for a while now, you probably heard me talk about this because I've been talking about this since the very beginning of the year. I've been saying get ready. We need to continue watching the trend on what is going on and how it's going to play into the very important months basically in the middle of summer, right? July, August, September. These are very important months. It all comes down to the data points that we've been receiving so far this year, which is the CPI, or most importantly the CPIW, which is the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers. This is the metric that they use to determine how much the COLA raise is going to be for your benefits next year, for 2025. They gather that inflation data during these months. July, August, and September. These are the 3 months that they use. Now, you might be wondering, how do they do that? I'll tell you really quickly. They add the inflation data from these 3 months, July, August, and September over last year, and the difference is the COLA for the following year. Does that kind of make sense? They compare inflation for these 3 months over last year's same 3 months, and the difference is the COLA for the following year. Does that make sense? Anyway, I can talk about that formula more in a different video, but my point here is, what have we been seeing so far this year? If you've been watching the videos here for a while now, you know exactly what's been going on. So far this year, inflation has been moving higher pretty substantially here the first handful of months, or basically the first half of the year. We've been seeing inflation moving quite a bit higher. When it comes to raises to your benefits, it depends on how you look at it. Obviously, higher inflation means higher prices on goods and services, the things that we're buying every single day, every single week, every single month, and where we are spending our money, right? This means that we're paying more out of pocket for all of these things. Not good. However, when it comes to your monthly benefit, we could possibly look at this and say, okay, these higher prices, yeah, they're not good right now in the short term, but in the long term, this actually means that it may result in a significantly higher benefit increase for your monthly benefits permanently, by the way. A lot of people don't realize this. Yes, I agree, the high inflation right now is not fun. The last 3 years or 3.5 years that we've been dealing with this high inflation, I agree, it has not been a fun situation. It's tough. However, when we look at the big picture here, these raises that are coming in, including the big raises we've received the last couple of years here, the 5.9%, the 8.7%, the 3.2% that we got this year, these raises are permanent. These will impact your benefits forever. For the rest of your life that you receive benefits, you're going to be getting these COLA raises. So, even as we see this data coming in over these next 3 months, and how this data shows whatever it happens to be as far as impacting your monthly benefit, yes, in the short term, inflation is quite a bit higher and this is really rough right now. But hopefully, crossing our fingers, this inflation actually gets stabilized here and starts coming back down a bit. At some point it will. However long it takes, we don't really know. It's going to take a long time. Eventually, when it does, just remember we've locked in these higher COLA raises for the last several years here. And this is going to impact your benefits forever for the rest of your life, which is pretty nice, right? Remember as well, you've heard me say this before, compounded all of these higher raises compounded on top of each other year after year, it actually results in quite a bit more money in your monthly benefit, right? So we don't know what the COLA is going to be yet. There's speculation. We can calculate based on the information we have so far, and we can probably round this down pretty close to what it's going to be. But let's wait a couple more weeks here to see what the next data point comes in at, and we'll get that information to see a better projection here. Within just a matter of a couple of weeks, we can probably narrow this thing down to within just a few tenths of a percentage point. Now, some people out there are suggesting it's going to be anywhere between 2% and 4%. Okay, fine, that's as good as saying it's going to be between 0% and 2%. That's a very big range. I'm not sure about you, but that does not get me all that excited to say, oh, it's going to be this huge range. Okay, fine, anybody can say that. Literally, anybody can flip a coin and say, yeah, it's going to be between this range. Okay, fine, that doesn't take any brain power to figure out. However, in the next couple of weeks, when we get that next data point, I will come back in a separate video and tell you where I believe within a few tenths of a percentage point where that thing is going to land. Here's the thing, the more data points we get on this, the more accurately we can project this thing. Obviously, we won't know the official information until October. That's when they come up with the official announcement for the COLA next year. When we get that information, basically this next data point here in just a couple of weeks, it'll be quite a bit easier to calculate this whole thing and come forward with a projection that's within probably 0.5% or maybe even tighter of a range. But again, we just want to get that last data point. So my point is, these months are important here. Leading up to them, I've been coming out in a variety of videos saying, hey, we got to look at the trend here. What is the trend of inflation going forward? Well, it's moving higher. It's been moving higher for many months now. That's why I continue to come back in January, February, March, and April. I was coming back in these months and saying, look at this, the trend is higher. We're seeing inflation moving up X% per month. The projections are moving higher by so much per month as well. With that projection, we may be looking at a substantially higher COLA than we're actually anticipating right now. I want to point this out really quickly as well. We don't just see a CPIW reading go from 1% or 1.5% up to 5% in a single month. Just doesn't work that. So again, we don't know what the COLA is going to be yet. There's speculation, and we can calculate based on the information we have so far. We can probably get pretty close to what it's going to be. But let's wait a couple more weeks to see what the next data point comes in at, and then we'll get that information to see a better projection. Within just a matter of a couple of weeks, we can probably narrow this thing down to within just a few tenths of a percentage point. Some people out there are suggesting it's going to be anywhere between 2% and 4%. Okay, fine. That's as good as saying it's going to be between 0% and 2%. That's a very big range. I'm not sure about you, but that does not get me all that excited to say, oh, it's going to be this huge range. Okay, fine, anybody can say that. Literally, anybody can flip a coin and say, yeah, it's going to be between this range. Okay, fine, that doesn't take any brain power to figure out. However, in the next couple of weeks, when we get that next data point, I will come back and give you a more precise prediction within a few tenths of a percentage point of where I think it's going to land. The more data points we get, the more accurately we can project this thing. Obviously, we won't know the official information until October. That's when they come up with the official announcement for the COLA next year. But once we get that next data point in just a couple of weeks, it'll be easier to calculate this whole thing and come forward with a projection that's within probably 0.5% or maybe even tighter of a range. So my point is, these months are important. Leading up to them, I've been making various videos saying, hey, we got to look at the trend here. What is the trend of inflation going forward? Well, it's moving higher. It's been moving higher for many months now. That's why I continue to come back in January, February, March, and April saying, look at this, the trend is higher. We're seeing inflation moving up X% per month. The projections are moving higher by so much per month as well. With that projection, we may be looking at a substantially higher COLA than we're actually anticipating right now. I want to point this out really quickly as well. We don't just see a CPIW reading go from 1% or 1.5% up to 5% in a single month. Just doesn't work that way. I mean, it could, in theory, technically, it could do that, but if that were the situation, we'd be in a very bad situation. It just doesn't rise that rapidly like that. But it does incrementally move up, 0.5% here, 0.4% there, 0.7% there. It does keep moving up month over month, and we continue to look at the trend. We say the trend is higher. Therefore, when we get into these 3 months, that's why they're so important. And why I've been watching this very closely over the last several months, pointing out that, hey, look at the trend here, it's moving higher, means during these 3 months. Here's the thing as well, will this inflation continue to move higher beyond July, August, and September? I'm going to say this much. Let's hope not. Why? Because we want this inflation to top out. Ideally, we want it to top out in August. Why? Because that's right in the middle of the 3 months that we're looking to gather the data. That means we caught the top going up, caught the very top, and we're catching the very highs going down in September as well. My point is, if this inflation is going to continue doing what it's doing, we want it really to top out in August. That means we've captured as much of the potential inflation as we possibly can. Does that make sense? We do not want it to top out in December or January. That'd be bad, meaning we missed the top, and the COLA for next year will not be nearly what it should be because we didn't catch the high of the inflation. We'll continue watching this, and as we get more reports, I'll keep coming back to break all this down for you. I just wanted to highlight quickly that July, August, and September are very, very important. This is why it all translates into your COLA. I know the COLA is a love-hate relationship. I see it down below in the comments section. I guarantee it, I'll see it on this video as well, people saying, who cares, it's the COLA, we don't care. Okay, that's fine. If you don't care about the COLA, then call Social Security and tell them to keep it. I highly doubt you're going to do that, right? Nobody's going to do that. My point is, I get it. We all love the COLA, but at the same time we also hate the COLA because it's never good enough. I get it. I see the comments. I know how we all feel about this. But at the end of the day, just think of it this way. It's your money, it's your benefit, it's your lifestyle, it's the amount of money you're getting in your monthly benefit for the rest of your life. This is going to compound year after year going forward as well. Any raises on top of this will just help you get a bigger raise regardless of what the COLAs are in the following years. Make sense? Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you so much for watching. Again, please subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet. It's totally free to do so. I'm watching all the details for you. Otherwise, share the video. There's a share button right down below. Share it with your friends on social media so they can also see this information. Otherwise, go back and check out any of the other thousands of videos here on the channel in the video library. Otherwise, down below in the description or at the top of the comment section, I've hand-selected some videos for you. Right now, on your screen you'll see some videos popping up. Make sure to check out one of those videos as well. Make your selection now, enjoy your day, take care, have a good one,